welcome to another edition of Athletes Corner. And today we got ourselves a special guest. Lynn Tech head coach Corey Bingham is in the building. What's going on, Coach?
Not much. Thank you for having me.
Hey, man. Thank you for coming along here. This is going to be one of them episodes we talk about a lot. So bear with us, folks. Bear with us. But before we get into his playing days, we got to talk about, he's going into year 3 or
four.
Year 4.
Year 4. It happens fast. Man.
Definitely happens
fast.
Year 2 and 3, it started picking up. Year 3 really got going as how you wanted to, but I mean, just that jump from year 2 to year 3, especially with those, because you threw those young guys in the fire that first year.
Yes, Mook, I had to, how things was on the program, before I got there. So I had to throw the young guys out there and let them get their feet wet so they could know, pretty much this is going to be your boat to control. And they excelled at it. Andy, Gio, Brandon, they got out there, they got their feet wet, and you could see it now. They look like veterans. They play like veterans. They, trying to control the game. There's stuff that they got to work on and get better on, but they're embracing being leaders and, it being their team finally, some of them. So it's a great feeling. And, getting the job where you play that, it's a touchy subject. It's tough, but you just want to bring it back to, how it was when you was there. And I don't want to say we're there, but we're getting there. Right. So it's just a good feeling all around, and I appreciate you, everything you're doing.
Yeah, and we got a glimpse of that first year too, because there were some games that those guys there were some games that they could have folded, but they found ways to win certain games that year.
Yes.
That they should have lost, and that's the hard part for young guys is like there's games that they should lose and they lose, but those guys were actually winning those games and finding ways. And as freshmen, that's just the biggest confidence boost.
Yes, and you've been at the games, you've been watching. They had seniors that kept them accountable of their actions. Edric and Jaden, they didn't take it easy on them at no sorts.
Right.
They let them know, like, you guys coming here to help and, be part of this program. So that was the biggest thing is, the older guys believing, when I first took over, we had good players, Mike Winch, and we had Brian Jones, Dre. So we had good players, but it wasn't meshing, seniors and the young guys, they wasn't meshing. So I believe Edric and Jaden, they kind of took that and they wore that under their hat. They brought the young guys in early. Obviously, I played them early, so they had no choice, but they accepted them as teammates. That's what you got to do. You got to accept your teammate, and most importantly, they all bought into the system. They believed in what I was telling them. They, being a kid, it's hard. Especially this era is hard. So by having them guys buy in and believing in me, and then seeing them do it, it's a blessing. And then, like you said, I feel like the tough games early on in their career made it easier for them. The next 2 years, and hopefully these 2 next years, and we could do something special.
Yeah, the game in particular I want to highlight was Tewksbury. Was it Tewksbury that y'all played in the state tournament? Or
Tingsboro.
Tingsboro. That game. Yep. So that game, it was. I know they was kind of nervous that first half. You could kind of see the nerves just in the state tournament game. Then they finally settled in. I feel like it was just they had the chance, but it was just like one of those things.
Too late, right? It's
too little, too late.
Yes,
yeah.
It's crazy because I had the same feeling about that. And it was more so like. It was all our first playoff game. Right. So even as a coach, I'll be honest, it was tough for me not knowing what to expect or whatever. But they learned from that. The next year last year they felt like, no, first round was, it was like a cakewalk, and I believe our state vocational tournament, it helps us, because those are like playoff games before the playoffs. So that's a big thing for, for a Tech team, and most importantly for my program, because you get the, that feeling if you lose, you done. So that I feel like that helped the guys, going into that first playoff game, but it's nothing like the intensity, the feeling of, and then we was on the road. So, a lot of things played in, the home team's favor, but the guys getting the experience was my biggest takeaway from it, and it was a blessing because you know, as the next year came around, it was just like first round was like a regular game to them. So hats off to the young guys, man. And as we could see, is fast forward now, they gonna be juniors this year, so they ain't young no more.
Yeah, definitely. It kind of reminded me that like run kind of reminded me like the first year you guys at English in the state tournament. I think you guys won a game, and then you had to go on the road and play a tough low team. I think it kind of reminded me a little bit of that because it was like it was everybody's first year. It was everybody's first year, and a lot of those guys too.
I
were
told
like,
the guys that last year, because the crazy thing about that is we lost. That year we lost to St. Mary's in the Lynn tournament too, and we went on a crazy run. So I was kind of using that as my pitch, like, yo, same thing happened to Lynn English that year. We lost to St. Mary's in the Lynn tournament. We turned around, we ran the table and won the state championship. It didn't, fruition get that far, but me as a coach, I just want the kids to go out there and leave it all out on the court, and I feel like they did that. You're not gonna win every game, and long as you seeing some development from the kids and they giving it their all after the game, they're exhausted and it means something to them, that's all, I could ask for as a coach, and just leaving it all out the court. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, one player, I'm like, this is one guy I like paid attention. I'm always paying attention to because I feel like he don't get the credit he deserves. Like Gio, I think he's one of the best players out here, and people don't give him the credit he deserves when it comes to like saying who's the best players around the area.
Yes,
but for him, like just the scoring and the creating and just being calm under pressure. Just for him, I seen like his game is really developing, and I'm like. Hey, why do you think people just not giving him the credit he deserves? Because there's a lot of players people try to put over him, and I'm just like, nah, that's not the case. Like, Gio might not talk that much, but he gets things done. And being thrown in the fire as a freshman, he was able to get things done.
Yes. It's tough because I I feel the same way you feel, but I feel like he doesn't get his just due, and I don't want to sound cliche or nothing, but I feel like it's the Jason Tatum thing. It's like when you're on a team with good players that are actually not better than you, but as good as you, you kind of get outshadowed, and people don't see the little things that Gio does. He rebounds, he like you said, he creates for players, and then most importantly, he could get a bucket himself. So just him doing everything, I feel like that would cloud people's vision, because when you're doing everything, it's like, what can he do? Instead of when a person's just a scorer, it's like, oh, he's getting buckets. It's like, yeah, but that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get buckets. Now, can you rebound? Can you help the team get wins? And like, to me as a coach, yes, and to me as a coach, Giovanni, he got better every year. Every year I try to tell him as a coach, add something different to your game. And every year he has done that. So now this year, me as a coach, I'm asking him just to be a little bit more of a leader, And like I said, I go back to the Jason Tatum thing. I think because he's so quiet like Tatum. Like, he's not no in-your-face type of guy. So, in the basketball world, I feel like people tends to like in-your-face guys, you know what I'm saying? Like, Anthony Edwards, type of guys like that. So I feel like if just him being who he is, it kind of gets him, outshadowed. But if you look at the numbers from freshman, to now, he's leading Lynn in anything, you know what I'm saying? And as a freshman, he came in and led his team farther than some freshmen did start. And, he been all conference since a freshman. So what more, more can you say from him? Boston Globe right up. So him and Andy, man, I feel like they're, one of the best backcourts in the state. Now they got to show that. I can't be the only person advocating for that. They got to go out there and show that, and, you add Brandon and Trav to it. It's like, you got a nucleus now. Now we need other guys to step up. So, man, I love Gio, man. He was probably the best thing besides Andy, because Andy handled the ball a little bit more for us, and he controlled the game. But them two to me is 1A, 1B, and I'm just happy to have both of them on my side, and Brandon too. Yeah,
you sending two off to college, Jaden and Edric. Edric at Salem State, Jaden going to New England. First of all, Edric, just the year he had, it was and it seemed like the second half of the season is when he really
right?
took off, and everybody started paying
attention.
Everybody took attention to him.
Yes,
what was the switch?
Me personally, I feel like he understood how dominant he was. Like his junior year, I wanted the same thing he did his senior year, out of him. But he, it takes time to understand your value or what you do. So I feel like his senior year, he understood. He was unstoppable, and me as a coach, I let the wheels off and let him go, Edric was a special player since his sophomore year, but he got his recognition his junior and senior year, and I feel like he just out-hearts everybody. He doesn't, to me being his coach, I don't feel like Edric does one thing great. He just outworks people, Right. Don't get me wrong, he's a hooper, he could score, he could rebound, he could do it all, but he's just a beast out there. So it's like, You want those players in your program, and he's going to be missed. Him and Jaden too, man. Jaden came a long way from his freshman year to his senior year, going to a nice program in New England. So I feel like them guys is they set the tone for the program. They brought the winning ways back and winning feeling. So it was a bless to coach both of them, Mook, and it's just crazy how it just happened so fast before you know.
Definitely. I also can't forget about Caesar too. He's going.
Yeah, Caesar's going over there to Salem State with Edric. Caesar was you do the sport, so Caesar was a dual athlete. He played both. So to have Caesar and his effort, what he gave, is just special. Like I said, Caesar is one of them guys. You tell him do something, you don't even got a second chance. And he'll run through the wall for anybody, his teammates, and he's just a special kid all around. He embodies Tiger pride because he's a multi-athlete. Played football, actually runs track. He played football, so he did it all for the school. And to see him go on to Salem State and try to achieve his ultimate goal as being a basketball player. He had a little thrift there with the all the sports, so it was kind of hard for him to lock in. But he's special, man. Caesar's I believe he's gonna make some noise over there at Salem State, just off of now just focusing on one sport, locking in.
You're right. Yeah, and he hustles too.
Yes, he all over the place.
Because that game against Kip, he came in there and changed the game.
Saved us. Yes, it was. Me and Coach Cap say it all the time. Like C's, it was a light switch. When you turned him on, he would be on, and only way you're gonna get him is you gotta hit that switch. He's gonna be on all night, run up and down the court. So he saved us possessions, games, and those are the type of players that all coaches want to coach. It's like you don't gotta call no plays for C's. He's gonna he's gonna turn around and get a steal or make a good defensive play. It was a couple games. I want to say the Shawsheen game, they was on like a run and they came down to do like a layup and he blocked it.
That was a home game, right?
Yes. The state vocational chain, and he blocked it, got a steal, and it changed the momentum
all in one sequence.
Of the game.
That was all in one sequence,
and it changed the momentum. He's one of those players where he's gonna change the momentum of the game, and it was like I said, it was a pleasure to have C's, man. I'm gonna miss him, Jaden, and Edric, and Emmanuel, and Christian. Even Christian, as a coach, he didn't play that much, but he did the little things, getting the team together on the bench. Practice, he would control practice and stuff like that. So that senior group, man, they're going to be very missed. But I feel like now, the juniors, they got to step up. You know how that goes, Mook. Yeah. You see you later. Now, just the next group got to try to, build their legacy in the program.
And they got a taste of what they need to do to get into like the state semifinals, the state championship game. Because one had to take a 2-3 hour drive all the way down to Wareham.
Yes,
it's one of them small gyms where the crowds is just right on you. So
tell them, you gotta tell the viewers about the environment.
Yeah, man, that was like a packed house.
We went out there, no excuses. We went out there. We didn't play Lynn Tech basketball, but that was a great team, man. As a coach, as a basketball player, sometimes you run into a chainsaw and, there's nothing you can really do about it. And as a coach, like I said, you prepare your team for everything, but you couldn't prepare your team for 9 seniors just hungry, just wanting it. And so Wareham they was tough.
Yeah, and the thing about that game when the guys was here, what I told him was like I told him, I think you guys got yourselves back in the game for a little bit. There was like there was a moment in that game where you got settled in.
In the settled first half.
They played Tech basketball and they were keeping up with them, and then
it just opened back up. Couple, with a senior team. If you giving away the ball, they feast on that, because seniors, they want the ball. They know what it, having the ball means. So I feel like that helped us for this year. But now, that's to be said. The guys got to go out there and do that. But the experience is there, the growth, everything you want in the program. We trying to, check off those boards. So we getting closer. Hopefully, this year, next year, we could bring something home to the city and for them to be happy for.
Yeah, and they also just get a valuable lesson of you want to try to go as undefeated. Granted, you want to win every game, but you want to try to get the best record as possible, just so you don't have to go 2 out. That drive. I think the drive is the most excruciating part.
Yes, it is. And Mook, we try to get there early. You try to shake it up. So I tried to get there early. We left early, and it was one of those nights.
Yes. You gonna hit that traffic on a Friday, no matter what.
No matter what, man. And that's the South Shore, right?
That's beyond the South Shore. That's like Southeast Mass.
Thank you. So you even like before you say that ride makes you want to be like, oh, me personally, I feel like it could have been in the even, so we could have met somewhere, and made it a little bit easy, easier for both of us. But I get it. They was the division, the champs going back to back. So if you want to, like I told the guys, you want to be champions, you got to knock off the champs, man. And hella run by Wareham, man. They was a great program, great team, man. But we should be ready this year, though.
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna take it a little back because you kind of was almost in a similar position from those guys when you came into high school, coming into Tech in 2001. But they had a lot of guys back, a lot of vets back from a team that was in the state championship the year before. So how was it coming into high school and then you're playing with guys that just was almost won it the prior year, and then you're practicing with them and being around those guys?
Man, I try to tell the young kids that, is it goes by so fast. But I feel like what helped me is I had Tone, I had Jet, I had Randy, these guys that I was familiar with, you know what I'm saying? Antonio Soto, he was, he's a Lynn Tech legend. So just to be on the court with those guys, Jamal Thornton, guys like that, it was like it was a push for me because, coming from Lynn, you want to be the best. Now you practicing versus the best every day, and I always tell people I take my hats off to Jamal Thornton because me being a freshman, him being a senior, he never took it easy on me. He made me work for everything I had, and, he made me, a great player because he didn't take it easy on me. Same thing with Tone. Tone wouldn't take it easy on me. So, having those guys push me, and then, like you say, being an 8th grade and seeing them almost win it, you're like, wow, they ain't they ain't losing nothing.
Right.
That nothing crazy, nothing knock to the seniors that they lost, but it was like we didn't really lose too much. You had the bulk of the team coming back. Then had Tone situation, so he was coming back to ready to go that year. So it was me personally, and I'm biased, but if you look at that team, I couldn't see any other team in Lynn beating that team. Just all on out. You had guys on the bench that could have been starting at another school in Lynn. So that team, honestly, I would say probably the best team in Lynn, and it made me who I was because it was no slouch. It wasn't no slouching. You couldn't take practice off. You couldn't take a day off, and it was just a special team to be around, man. And it was a great time, man, to be a freshman and be around guys like that.
Those guys play. It was like that Louisville full court
press in your face
the whole game, 40 minutes.
You scored. We turn it right back around, and we want the ball right. You know what I mean? Taking it right back from you to do it again. Yeah. Nowadays, kids want to score. What the first thing they do, they want to run back and try. No, you try to turn around real fast and get that ball back to do it all over again. So that was just a mentality, man. Them guys. They started that in the summertime, though. You know, like, once that season was over, my bad. That season was over, the following season when they lost.
Yeah.
That summer league, like, from the summer league on, Bolo, Lindbergh, them guys was hungry. It was like they had one mission. I promise you not, and it was to win a championship. And they did that, man. And you gotta think about it. What a lot of people don't know is that team could have had 2,000-point scorers. You know,
right.
Miguel Soto wasn't too far from scoring 1,000, but he sacrificed his 1,000 to win a championship and let Jamal Thornton get his. So that stories in like that, you don't hear that a lot. You know, people is going, oh, I'm going for my 1,000. I don't care about, you know. He sacrificed getting 1,000, you know, Beth putting his name on the board. You know, he got a ring, so it works out. And that's what it takes, you know, to be a great team and win championships is somebody got to sacrifice, and sometimes it be one of the best players.
Yeah. From that state tournament run and just that state championship game, I mean, your first experience in that, what was that like seeing that? Just how they made that run and, you know, getting able to play. Was the championship game in Worcester? Or was it at the?
Yes, it was in Worcester.
Okay.
Yep, it was in Worcester. Yeah, you know, it was the old way. Like they did that back then was, you know, north south. So that was the old way. But I feel like just being on that team, you know, you feeling like you get to the top of the mountain. You like, I'm a freshman. I want to do this 3 more times, you know.
Right.
And I tell the kids, and even when we was at English, I try to tell the kids it's nothing like riding around on that the fire truck after you win the state championship. So coming into my sophomore year, we felt the same way. You know, we had Tone, Rambo, Jet, JoJo. So we had a good nucleus, you know. So we felt like we could have did it again. I want to say we got to Lowell that year. We lost Watertown, but just the feeling is, you know, you got to embrace the experience. You know, that's one thing helped me as a freshman experiencing it. So when the sophomore year, when I was kind of like, you know, third, second option,
right.
It was new. It wasn't new to me, you know. And then, you know, as you get older, it's like I've been here, I did this. Now you're telling the young guys, yo, this is what we got to do. We got to stay hungry. You know, you can't, just because you won, you know, 2 playoffs games, that's not enough. You want to be, you know, dancing on the Fleet Center. I can tell people at the top, it's high school 4 years. 3 years out of the 4, I was at, you know, Fleet Center Garden. So just the experience and being there, and then, you know, the memories that you create with your teammates and your friends, like that state championship team, it don't matter where I see any one of them, it's like, you know, we was with each other yesterday, you know, just off of that experience and winning, and most importantly, them hard practices and, you know, like I said, everybody sacrificing, you know, because the first year, a lot of us had to sacrifice, especially in the beginning, because, you know, JT didn't have a waiver, so it was like Coach Avery was trying to find his way of, you know, how he was going to run things. So a lot of us played. Like I tell people, I didn't play a lot, but my freshman year, I started. So it gave me experience of being out there and, you know, knowing what it takes and playing with Tone and Jed and Soto and my man Lindbergh. So it was just, you know, experience and, to me, memories that you would never forget, you know. And not to mention we had the big guy in the middle, Streeter, probably one of the best centers in Lynn Tech.
Right. Mm-hmm. And then so after that, it's like, you just said second year, you're kind of like third, fourth option because you got those other older guys, Tone and Randy and Jet. Mm-hmm. But then your junior year comes, now it's like you got full control.
Yes, full control. Mm-hmm.
And then it was kind of easier for you because a lot of your teammates, you guys been playing since Pee Wee basketball.
Yes, as you know, Specto, Larry. Then we got there. So it's familiar, you know, being familiar with somebody, I feel like is the biggest key on the basketball court. You know, if you're familiar with what he's going to do and what he likes you to do, it makes everything a little bit more easier. So nowadays, these kids, they don't, you know, we used to go to the court with the 5 players. We wasn't going to say we got to win it.
Yeah.
I'm coming to the court with my 5. We already know how we like things and how things are going to go. And I feel like that's what we got to get back to. You know, it's tough, but now the leap from a sophomore to a junior, it's just the mentality, you coming into, like I say, we was winners,
Right.
a lot of us, that's what we did. We won, so it was just trying to take the torch to another level. Like, all right, Tone's going, Rambo, James going. Now I got to be ahead of the helm and take over and, put my guys in the right place so they could star. Stead, Maul, Jeff Burrito, Kevin Cleveland, my man Wendell. So just having those guys, and most importantly, they got to believe in you. If you're the star player, they got to believe in the capabilities that you could do. And I feel like my guys always believed in what I could do and putting them in the right situation.
Yeah, Kevin Cleveland, he had that growth spurt. And I feel like he was like that the guy on your team that kind of did everything that went unnoticed. Because he would you look at the stat sheet and he'd have 15 points, 10 rebounds, and you
walking double.
Right.
That would personally, and just being biased or whatever, but I feel like we would have been the best team in Lynn history if he didn't get injured my senior year. He ended up getting a crucial bad knee injury. And that kind of, it didn't stop our season because we just had so much steam, but it just never was right. It didn't feel right. Then you get to the state championship game, like we saying, he leads the team in rebounds.
Right.
And they got 2 6'7", 6'6" guys. So it's I'm in there rebounding. Jeffrey Burrito's young. He's in there rebounding.
It was like you, Kevin, and Jeff.
Yes, those was the big guys.
Yeah.
And then we had my main man, Kevin Gina, though. He was no slouch, man. Kevin Gina, he had some big games in the playoffs. He came and he stepped in for Kevin Gina. He's a Lynn police officer now, but
he's state trooper now.
Oh yeah,
okay,
man. I was seeing him, with the Lynn, but that's what's up, man. Kev always been you know how us Lynn guys are. It's always family, like I said. Basketball is a family after the family, because you spend so much time with them. Just like me being a coach now with the guys, it's like I see the kids more than I see the parents, So then the parents see them. So it's a blessing, man, and to get the program to back where it's supposed to be, that's another blessing to me, because being at English and seeing the Tigers the way they was. It was tough for me, but it happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
That run you got like you said, you played at the Fleet for three out of your 4 years there. Man, there's nothing like the Fleet playing over there.
What?
There was nothing like it, especially
we had
that
our
old
own locker rooms, man.
Right.
There was the Lynn Tech locker rooms. People don't understand that when we was there, we had the same locker room every year because they knew we was coming, and that was that's a comfortable feeling right there. Right. You going to the Fleet and you got the same locker room, continuous years, man. It don't get no better than that. I try to tell these kids that obviously with the format changing, you don't really get, you're not going to be able to get to the Fleet Center. But just the feeling, Mook, and the memories that, you create. And, the funniest thing about that is Lil Freddie was, he was the little guy at that time. I got a picture of me and him, and he chilling with me at the Fleet Center. Then you fast forward years later, he's a star. He's, so it's it's just, to me, it's all paying everything forward. You can't, you can't take this knowledge and these memories and everything with you when you're going. So you got to give it to somebody to pass it on, and that's what I try to do.
Yeah. When you kind of look back, and you had one of your 1,000-point game, like the way you scored that 1,000-point off that alley, but that game was just one of those games. Like I think everybody was at that game. And
Tech used to be it, man. Don't let these people lie to you. I would say that 2000 wave, man. We was different, and you said the 1,000-point, man. Maul's my bro, so it was like. It's almost, we've been doing that since we was little, him throwing the ball off the glass board to me, adjustable rim. So that's a memory, I'm saying it a lot, but it's like, it's certain stuff, we watched above the rim. You can't erase the memories, you can't. So just those feelings, man, is like, even Stead, Stead being on the staff is like, he's telling the guys, this what coach did, so... I always say it's different being a Tiger, man. They don't believe us. I know you you got your ties to the Bulldogs. I don't knock that, but it's just different over on the Tiger. St. Mary says it, but it's really different on our side, man.
Yeah. And what was kind of cool too is like you were helping the dudes behind you, like right after you left. Now Tony instead of taking control,
man.
and then after they left,
and
Richie took control.
To see it, and that's why it hurted me to see it the way to see it was, because you could go down, you got Tony, you got Stead, that group, then after that you got Richie, then you got Vic. It was going, it was a movement, man, and all good things come to an end, but they recreate themselves. But it's just it's the memories. Like even those guys would tell you, they a lot of those guys say they going to Tech because of what Tone was doing, or what Tony was doing. Tony Gallo, he was always tough as nails, But just like everybody got to wait their chance to shine, and I feel like he waited and he blew it up. It's not too many guys out here that can hang with Tony, so. Kudos to those guys, man, is to keep the legacy and, what we was doing alive, and, keep, and that's why I'm trying to get us back to now.
Yeah, and you also were named, you were on the Harold Jean team. That was a pretty good class. Well, that was a hell of a class that you guys.
Yes, that year,
Jason White, I think.
Wesley.
Two guys from New and North.
Yes, Corey Lowe and Anthony Gurley. Come on, who better than that? Yeah. Just to think, you got 4 of us, all 5 of us went D1, but Jason White, he didn't get there, but he had a scholarship, football and basketball. So
Charlestown,
Charlestown, just to be in those room, be there with those guys. I played versus them my whole life, so us just getting that honor is It's a blessing.
And they don't do it no more, but just the photo op at TD Garden.
You feel like you somebody when you doing that. Bro, like I said, that's another memory. Like you get in there and you seeing these guys, you like, what? Like Jason White and Anthony Gurley, I would see them around a lot, and I would say to them, y'all always gonna be on my team, you know what I'm saying? So it's like I said, man, life is all about creating memories. If you're not trying to do that, then I feel like you ain't living life right.
Right. You got a chance to go up to Lee up in Maine for the post grad year, and getting that prep school experience, being so far away from home up there in Maine too. Like when you first got there, what was that like? Because I think when you get there, you have a lot of time to just focus on basketball because you're just kind of secluded from everybody.
Yes, Lynn raised me, but Lee Academy saved me. Because when you're in the inner city and it's kind of hard to maneuver through things. You got a lot of things going on. So me going to prep school, it actually sat me down. It's not a million. You're not moving. It's not city. You're stuck. It's nowhere for you to go. So you got to lock in with your school books, and then most importantly, you get to lock in the gym. You in the gym more than you're doing anything. So I feel like that school saved me because I was in a path that if it wasn't for prep school, you never know how life turns. So just going there and, like I said, slowing me down. To this day, it's crazy you say that. To this day, they do a tournament up there. So I bring the guys up there. This is our my 4th year. So this is our 3rd year going up there. And even for the kids to see it, and they actually Coach, how you do it? It's like, no, if you want something that's bad, you're gonna do whatever it takes for you to achieve that goal. So me, I wanted to go to Division I college. My core credits and all that wasn't up to par, so I had to go to prep school and try to figure that route out. And no better place for me, man, I tell you, because it's a wake-up call, It's nothing out there. It's nothing. There's nothing for miles. Walmart's an hour away, so you got to lock in, You got to focus, and the teachers ain't giving you no second chance, You get that work done or you ain't playing. So it was a lot of lessons learned up there that, you don't really get in a city, but all it did was make me stronger and help me provide this for these kids now,
Yeah, and now watching a lot more prep school hoops, it's kind of like you can see the difference because when you play in public school, might have a guy your height playing, point guard and stuff like that. But over there,
no,
you 6'3", and you might have to cover a 6'7" point guard.
Quick story: when I was at Lee Academy, we played Paul Becklin's team, right? Bridgeton.
Okay.
Paul Becklin was a guard, but he was the smallest guy on the court. Yeah. So it was like, this is my guy from away, but I can't stick him.
Right.
I got small. I'm playing the 2, so my little guy got to stick him. I'm sticking the 6'6".
Right.
2 guy going to St. John's. So it's a different ball game. And if, like I tell my kids now, if your game is at that level, then that's where you need to be. You can't rush the levels and rush the experience of basketball, because you're gonna be running into towers. If you can't do nothing in the Lynn tournament, chances are you ain't doing nothing in the prep school showcase. So
because they might throw a center at you that could keep up with you.
That's right, a center that's guard. So. Like I said, prep school prepares you for all angles, on the court, off the court, and it don't get no better than that. So just having to go out there and showing your stuff versus those guys. Great hoopers, Tone, me, Ant, Tony, Al. We did that on the national stage. We wasn't satisfied doing it in Lynn in front of everybody. You bring your game. Your game got to travel. That's one thing about basketball. You got to be able to bring that game on the road, and that's what these kids have to work better on. Is you're gonna be the best kid in Lynn, but are you the best kid in Massachusetts now, or are you gonna be the best kid in the country? So that's what it's all about. I feel like it's setting your goals, man. If you satisfied with being the best kid in Lynn, then that's not a goal that you should be trying to set.
Yeah, definitely. And then you got the opportunity to play at Toledo out there in Ohio, and then you and Paul end up being teammates out there, man. What was that experience like? Going to Ohio and playing at a Division I program like that?
Yes. Going D1, that probably second to having my kids. Best accomplishment. It's just a whole different atmosphere. As things slow down, is you're a student athlete, so you got to make time for everything. Right. But at the same time, what are you there for? To play basketball. So I feel like it's a full-time job, man. That at that time, kids now they're getting paid for, but you wasn't getting paid for. Right. So just being there in the environment, getting pushed every day, not being the best on the team. Like some kids, growing up, you always gonna be the best. But when you get to college, you ain't nobody's best at nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're starting, it's starting all over, especially being a freshman. So. Man, I wouldn't take that experience back for nobody, and that goes for anything in life. I would, no regrets. I would do it all over again the same way, and just being there, building bonds. Like I said, Paul was there. I had my man Ridley Johnson. He went to Charlestown. He was there. So It was us 3 Massachusetts guys up there. It was great. And then my guy Justin. He was from Grand Rapids, Michigan. He was my guy up there. Then my teammate, my AAU teammate, went there too, Muhammad. So it was, like I said, it's the comfortability, being familiar with it. So that would help me so much, man. It was, on the court, it was tough because you're a freshman and you're trying to learn the game, how things is done from this coach's way. But like I said, Mook, I wouldn't take it back. Play some big games. We played Pittsburgh at the zoo, Levance Field, when they were Sam Young, DeJuan Blair. So just things like that. Dayton when they had Chris Roberts. So just bumping against some of the best players. Vanderbilt. Who else we played? Houston. So non-league was crazy, and then in conference was something else. So. Me, like I said, I take out of life is the memories. Memories and the experience, because. As a kid, you'll never forget those. Growing up, now you're a grown man. Now I pass that on to my son. I did do that. We was playing NCAA the other day. I picked Toledo, and I went and put my Toledo jersey on. Just those things in life goes a long way with me.
Yeah, was the practices kind of a little bit harder than the games over there?
Yes, fully, man. Practice was the game,
Right.
So just being in them hard practices, it just translated to the game, and that's why I feel like I try to do as a coach. You got to make practice like a game, because when the game comes, it makes it easier and more relaxing for the kids. Yeah. So I feel like, the coach at the time, he did a great job of that, is making, practice, tough for all of us. It was a war, So, man, shout out to Toledo. I still get my alumni emails every year. So, it's a great feeling, man.
Yeah, definitely. Your last name holds a lot, right? Mm-hmm. So when you're coming up hooping and people seeing how good you're getting through the age, did you feel any pressure at any point? Because you have family members that did it on a high level.
Me personally, Mook, I never felt the pressure, honestly, and I'm gonna be completely honest. I never really felt the pressure because my uncle and my dad and them, they kind of like schooled me to the game. They told me what to expect and things like that. So it was I always say it wasn't no pressure to me because, and I tell the kids all the time, I was never trying to be the best in Lynn. I always wanted to go. You ask the guys across the bridge, I always wanted to play versus them. I find my way to playing BNBL and you know what I'm saying, summer tournaments, summer leagues. I might, the last person I would say from Lynn that did that probably was Tony Gallo, being from Lynn and playing the BNBL. So I was just ahead of my time, I feel like. I just wanted it a lot. And that's why I try to preach to the kids. If you want something, it don't matter what it is. I don't care if you want to be the first lady president or however you look at it. If you want something in this world, it's how much work you're going to put into it. So I feel like I put enough work in. I would play basketball all day, every day, from getting out of school, going to the Marion Gardens, to when you leaving the Marion Gardens, going to the Greg House, to the Y or the Boys and Girls Club. So just putting yourself in those steps and then getting on the AAU team so you could get, so you could get seen and be going to them tournaments and stuff. So I feel like that, the Bingham name is, it's definitely holds some weight in the city, but you still got to have some talent. You can have the best last name, and if you ain't good enough, what does it matter? You know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel.
Was it like one of those things you just felt like you just had to keep it going with the relatives before you?
Yes, keep it, keep us irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? And most importantly, being who I was. That's me. We went to Facto. We played together. So it's like, I was being me, my dad, my uncle, they was them. I'm Corey, so
and they never like really just like, because some parents would like try to force it on the kid. They just let you be, right?
When I was younger, my dad ended up telling me about my uncle, and I ended up telling him, no, I'm going to be the best Bingham. So, it was in me. It was, what I'm saying? It was, they ain't had to put nothing in me.
Gotcha.
It was like, I'm going to do this. You know what I'm saying? And
I was saying, like, they kind of just, I was saying they kind of just let you, let you figure it out. Let you
figure it out. Yes, for sure. It was no hands-on or, it was none of that. My Uncle Pancho, he took me to Patrick Ewing's camp in Cambridge, so he made me familiar with the game and things of that sort, and the crazy thing about it is both sides of my family got a little wave, because my Uncle Darryl, the Murkisons, they was good. My Uncle Darryl, he went to Northeastern for football too. So, and then the Akers, those are my cousins. So it was like, I feel like I was just brought up in it. I would go to, like I always tell my cousins, the Akers is, I used to go to my Aunt Mary Rose. She lived in Current Circle, and one of them went to UCLA and one went to Michigan. So their helmets was on the floor with the big trophy. So it was like, it was all motivation to me. Same thing when I would go to my Nana Bingham's, rest in peace, her house, my Uncle Pancho, all the trophies and everything, my Uncle Johnny, all they stuff. So I was more so a student of the game. They did this? All right, well, I got to go get mines now. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how it was to me. I didn't look at it as any pressure because it was like, this is what I wanted to do, no pressure, man. It's just, coming from Lynn, that's
That's what they want you to have is pressure, I feel like, you know, because your last name or whatever, like, you know, even like the Anderson family, like they're a big family too. Yeah. I don't feel like it was no pressure on Tone because who AA was. Right. It just made it easier for him because he knew the steps, you know what I'm saying? So it goes different. Some kids might look at it like pressure, like I might say my son might have some pressure now because he's come living up after me, but...
Yeah. And even when I asked your daughter the same thing, she was more so like, yeah, my dad did his thing, but it's more so like, I'm just trying to cop my
same thing. Same thing with her. No, I don't put no pressure on her because your kid is going to be a kid. And not to, you know, jump to another thing, but I feel like that's our biggest problem in Lynn right now is a lot of parents is trying to live through their kid. You know what I'm saying? Encourage them to be who they are. You might have been a superstar, football, basketball, tennis player, but who says your daughter or you know what I'm saying? Your son want to do that. They might play it in high school, but they might want to be like, nah, this is too much for me. You know what I'm saying? And respect them for that. That's just me. That's my opinion. You know, everybody has their own opinion, but... You know, like I said, from day one, I never put no pressure on my daughter. She's a great basketball player. I love her, but I tell her all the time, if you would start playing basketball today, I'm your dad. I'm going to love you, you know what I'm saying, for that. So basketball don't really hold no weight. You're going to go out there and do your thing regardless, and I'm extremely proud of her. She got one more year at Tech, so hopefully she, you know, turns up.
Yeah, we'll see what life is.
Yes.
Also, like, there's I'm with Todd a lot, so he got a picture at his house. It's like you, him, Randy, Justin Johnson, AC with Fred. I think it was like a Boys and Girls Club league when y'all was playing.
That's YMCA, man.
Yeah, when he was, I think Marcos was the coach.
And Todd was the center. Right? He was the center, but he was our center point guard. Right. You know what I'm saying? Just imagine that. He was the biggest guy on our team, but you've been around. He got handled. Like, Todd got some of the best handles around here. So it was just a complete mismatch. Me, Todd, and Justin Johnson, we probably got the most championships, like youth. You know what I mean? Like, we won everything from CYO, Lynn YMCA, Lynn Parks Rec. Whatever you can name 3-on-3, it was me, him, and Justin, and we would scrape them. And we just had to, like I said, was familiar. You know, we played with each other. You know, if we went to the court, obviously no phones, but we gonna be at the court today.
You know,
pull up, come, let's play. So, I feel like that's a lost art with the kids. You drive by these parks. Ain't nobody at a park, but as soon as you say open gym somewhere, you can't beat these kids from getting, you know. So it's like it's a different day and age, man. And I respect these kids. I respect their era. It's it's different in every era, but that 2000 era,
that's right. Because they was telling
ain't
me,
seeing that.
Yeah, they was telling me like y'all in that YMCA league, y'all wiped through everybody. I think, and then. I think he said y'all got to New York, y'all lost to New York or something like that. And it was like some just like crazy some nonsense.
We got to New York, man, and shout out to Fred Hogan, man. He's Lynn legend. Everybody should know that. But Fred was our coach. So the first year we went there, and it was like it was new to us, you know. And that's another thing I say is that would help me is when we were at that age. So it was 12 and under. So I'm about 10. At 10 years old, we was playing at University of Albany, bro. So, you seeing that as a kid, you like, we on the University of Albany's campus. We're like, what? This is a university. So that like opened a lot of us up to know like, yo, this is possible, and getting there, we played. The first year was tough for us. We had Tone, Jet, those was the big guys. And then the next year, me, Todd, and Hood was the big guys. And them two was the centers, and I'm like the three.
Right.
And so we get there and we play versus a team. It goes back to what we said about prep school. They had all 6 footers, and this is elementary. So it was like, this is crazy. We get out there. We played them hard though, man. Right. Justin Johnson, he probably was, he wasn't even, 6 feet, but he was playing versus somebody like 6'4". Todd was sticking to 6'5", so it was like, I'm 6'2". We ain't nowhere near 6 feet. So I say, man, it just gave us the experience to know that we could play with anybody. You know, long as you working on your game, and like I said before, if your game travels, you could play anywhere. It don't matter who you is. Basketball is two things. You got to stop somebody from scoring, and then you got to put the ball in the hoop. It don't matter who you playing versus, you know. And look at, obviously not today, but look at South Sudan versus USA. Like, you know what I'm saying? On paper, that game is nowhere close like it was today, but you know, it's basketball. Anything can happen, man.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, those definitely some good times.
Yes.
Like back in those mid 2000s, because we had the YMCA runs. We had whichever park people was at.
And the Greg House, man.
The Greg House runs.
Legendary,
Summertime,
man.
was either at Warren Street, or either at Marion Gardens, Colley Park, or go to Breed.
Yeah. And you could, right there. That right there tells you. You could name them parks that you was going to go to. Right now, you couldn't tell me one park you could go to right now.
I think Cook Street, occasionally.
Yeah.
Occasionally.
Man, like I said, those... You had those on you every day, you know. Not to mention when Current Circle had the mini hoop.
Right.
Oh my God.
Right.
It, like I said, I just feel like we wanted a little bit more. You know, technology. To me, you know, my opinion, is killing these kids. You know, it really is. And I say that athletic wise and social wise. You know, you be talking to a kid. They be talking to you and they looking at you like, look me in my eyes. Right. You know what I'm saying? So
some of them don't even know how to have conversations.
That's what I say. Socially, like you can't even make a conversation with me. That's the easiest thing. You know, what's your favorite color? You know what I'm saying?
How you doing?
You know, man, it's tough. And I feel like the parks. Basketball made some of us great. You know, because in the park you falling on the ground, you getting fouled. You know. You're just getting used to certain things nowadays kids don't get used to. You know, they come to the court with a bottle of water. There ain't nothing wrong with that, but man, I'd be so thirsty after the game, bro. I have to go to somebody's house. Yo, let me get some water. Like now, that's like the first thing leaving. Oh, do I got my water? Like what? I was leaving the house. Do I got my ball? Right.
Yeah, and the thing is with basketball back then is like that's how some folks made friends. Like you know, that's how some folks that may have just moved to the city.
Yes, and my biggest knock to these kids now too is they gotta start being students of the game. Like you gotta know who's who. Even if you gotta ask some questions, your coach or even we'll call it ask. You know, there's people that came before you that laid the foundation for you to do these things. So me, I was always a student of the game. I knew about Dave Anderson. I knew about Calvin Johnson. Obviously, my uncle Stewie Primus was my coach at Washington. So like just knowing, you know, studying the game, you got the classical team, Tony, Will, JoJo. You know what I'm saying? So Dee Dorian. So it's like these kids, they couldn't even tell you about Alonzo, Mason, and Jack.
And that was 4 years ago.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. And
how
special was that? Lynn English never won a championship. These dudes brought them 2 championships. And we couldn't, if we had them lined up, them kids couldn't be like, oh, this and that. Because they ain't a student of the game. And that comes with being a great basketball player. You got to know who comes before you. And you got to watch. You know what I'm saying?
And what all started for a lot of us was the Lynn Elementary tournament.
That's right.
That's where it started for a whole lot of us.
All of us. And it's crazy how it is nowadays. Like, what? It's an event. It's almost like Shoe City now.
It is an event.
Like, I be at them games like, what?
Yeah, man. Those kids be...
Oz was all right. But this ain't... Oz was nothing. Like, it...
Even like this past, I've gone the last 3 years, and each one has just been crazy.
CJ played in it this year, and I was like, this is really intense, man. It was like Lynn, hands down, we got the best elementary, however you want to call it, system, program. It's working, but we got to, you know, tweak it up a little bit. Get some coaches in there that knows something.
The best thing that happened is they moved it to Marshall.
Yes, sir. Pickering was too small. It was too small. Definitely.
Pickering, man, back.
Parents wasn't even getting in. They was sitting at the door.
Yeah, we was there. It was packed at Pickering. This is on a Saturday.
Yo, Marshall
Saturday
saved us a lot, man. Lynn did a great job by building Marshall, that new Marshall. That saved us, man, because only school in Lynn with an AC. Like that's great, in the gym. You know what I'm saying? So that's big. Elementary basketball and Lynn that's tough. I like how they do it, even with the little warm up games, all that. So
the free throw contest and all that.
they did a great. They doing a great job over there. Them guys is doing great. They really are.
Man. We running out of time. As you can see, this is like a
but one thing I would say is, man, Mook is doing a great job for the city, and we gotta find somewhere. We gotta keep staying behind them on this. Everybody's gonna have their opinions out here. And everybody, is entitled to how they feel. But if somebody's doing something, supporting the city and, doing it off the strength of the love and for the community, man, we got to respect that, Everything he say, I don't agree with, but that's his opinion. That's what he been seeing, and that's what he been around. So I respect it for that, And I feel like, bro, they got to start giving you your just due of what you doing out here. And not just for the city, bro. You know what I mean? You going state to, city to city, all around the state.
Going state to state.
Yeah,
we about to start going state to state.
I almost talked something up, but that's what it's all about. And like I said, bro, I appreciate you for, showing love always to the Tigers and even to the city, man. I appreciate you.
A fun fact for everybody here. Y'all hear me and him talk about back in the day. So I first met Corey at Marion Gardens, though. I met him at Marion Gardens.
Yes, sir.
This was in elementary.
Home. That's my home.
This was in elementary because one of the kids I went to Connery with lived over there.
Yes, sir.
And he was out there. I think he was out there with your brother shooting around. Mm-hmm. That's when I first met him.
And then we'll fast forward 8. What? You was in I was in 7. You was in 6 or 8 and 7.
I was 6.
6. Yeah. We were on the same team. I shout out to Mr. Ward. He was our coach.
I see him sometimes.
Yes, in probation. Had him probation over there. All love. Yes. Fecto Larry and not Fecto. I got to tell these young kids, not Fecto Larry, the one there now. We was Fecto Larry, the junior high school, the real school. Not, I don't know what y'all call it now, but we built something over there. Shout out to Miss Barnes, girl. I love you.
Yeah, Miss Barnes. Did she just get signed? I think she just got some.
Yeah, she got an award. Yes. Lifetime achievement, something like that.
Yeah. She got
which
something.
She rightfully deserved. Her mom started, they, not to go over time, but her mom started this for, for our colors. She was big for our people in the city, and she helped us. And her kids, they brought it to another level. Buzzy, rest in peace to a legend, and Miss Barton, they kept it going. And same thing with the rest of the siblings.
Yeah, definitely. Let them know where they can follow the Tigers' social media.
Oh, we Lynn Tech basketball, Instagram. Just follow us. We got some good content on there. We're gonna keep providing stuff for the city. Camps, everything.
You guys just had the gym open up for like a run.
Yes,
right?
Yes. I'm trying to bring that back, Mook. I'm trying to, some place where the kids could go play. We was just talking about Greg House, YMCA Boys and Girls Club. Why not? We got 100 gyms, right?
Right. Y'all got a wood floor now too.
Right. Come on. Let's. Me, just like when we was at English. We try to make things a basketball factory,
Right.
If you coming to Tech, what you coming to do. If you was going to English, what you was coming to do. You trying to hoop, you trying to get better. We at Lynn Tech trying to get things right. Not all the time, when we can get in there.
Yeah, definitely, man. My man.
Yes, anytime, bro. Appreciate you.
Y'all. You guys been watching Athletes Corner. We out of here.
Sin City.
Yeah.